Oh, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with each other and myself. I just want to roll right into it. I've been processing some things in the past few days. And as usual, the kind of theme for this whole 2 months, we could say 2 years. For me, it's been about 5 years, has been very emotional. Emotions, from my perspective, we can use to kind of see where we are at energetically, and it helps us to process things and integrate things and feel into what is in alignment and what isn't in alignment. And I just want to go into the message and maybe share my personal experience at the end. We'll see. But the question I had for my guidance team was, if I am a creator, a creative being, and I'm creating my own reality, then why is this showing up for me in this way in my reality right now? Why is it that this is such a huge topic? I'm going to let you fill in the blanks, because it could be about a lot of things. I say it, but what is it? Always reminds me of that song Epic. What is it? Oh, the grunge era. Anyways, this idea of these topics that are usually around health, right? Fill in the blanks, science, fill in the blanks, medical, political, social, economic. What is it that is showing up in my reality time and time again, that at this point, there's no way I can ignore it? I've been talking about, and as we shouldn't, of course, it's about what I always say, acknowledging that it's there so that it can be integrated and not denied. So the 5 stages of grief, I keep saying in every video, the last few videos, we are all going through grief in some way. Many of us are. I won't speak for everyone. That grief can show up for us. And I've been adding my own stages, by the way. I've got a few extra stages I feel that are part of the grieving process that aren't listed, but just for a visual or an idea of what that looks like. Denial. Oh, that's not going to affect me. Oh, I don't need to look at that. Oh, here it is on your doorstep. You can't deny it anymore. Acknowledge it, see it, integrate it, process the feelings and emotions around it. And then, so for me, it's been challenging to come into a place of acceptance and to figure out, well, what action do I need to take to be in that space right now? Or do I need to take no action and just allow myself to, as gracefully as I can, process all of this? So it's a lot of stuff. And I'm going to get to that at the end. But the message that came through from my higher guidance team, I'm going to go in the flow about this a little bit and play with the words, is simple human. Oh, simple human. I asked, why? Why is this showing up? Did I create this? Why did I create this? I thought I was through this particular, whatever it is. Fill in the blanks. And my guides keep saying, simple human. You're so cute. You're so funny. Like being patted on the head, right? And that was layered. And I started laughing after I got like, wait a minute. What is going on right now? It's always a word play for me. So we've been taught, oh, simple human. Listen, stick with me and you'll be all right, kid. We've been taught, oh, these beings and deities, fill in the blank, these galactics, these masters, these ascended masters, these angels, they're all better than you. You don't know better. Follow them and do exactly what they say, and you'll be all right. And that has worked for a lot of people. I'm being guided to talk about my experience with so I'll do that in just a moment. 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 200 years ago, didn't always work, but for some people, it really worked. I'm being guided to talk about like the yogis, for example, right? I'm a yoga teacher. I love yoga. So and by the way, when I say yoga, I recognize that some people think yoga is something and other people think yoga is something else. My concept of yoga is movement and flow and connecting mind, body, and spirit. It is not the religion. It is not just through asanas. It is not just through meditation. And there's different limbs and arms, branches of the tree of yoga. Again, I'm always sharing, we're being invited to step out of our box, step out of our belief about what that means, because it's different for everybody. So that's a good example, though. Following certain aspects of that can really get you into a place of acceptance and processing and integration. That doesn't mean it works for everyone, for whatever reason. So, and again, I'm not here to get into a judging match about that either, because it's irrelevant what we believe. If it works for us, great. If it doesn't work for someone else, I'm not here to sit and tell them why it didn't work for them. And that's what a lot of us are finding, we're seeing going on around us, right? Well, you didn't do it right. Well, you should be doing this. Well, this is how, again, simple human leading simple human. But the bigger picture about all of this is what I was shown, what I'm going to go into flow about is keep it simple, right? Keep it simple, star seeds. We're all of those things. All of that. We have the DNA and the beautiful technology all wrapped up within our skin suit. And meaning, I'm not saying I'm an angel, and I'm not saying I'm an Arcturian or an Andromedan. I'm not saying that, but I believe Jesus says, have I not told you ye are all God? We're gods, whatever. Let's not break it down and compartmentalize it. Bottom line is, even the Bible talks about it. And there's big parts of the Bible, other books in the Bible that aren't in the Bible that also talk about it. So it's interesting to just take all of that and put it into a ball and just mush it all together. And guess what that puts us in our human bodies? We are quantum beings connected to all of those energies. And I'm just going to wrap it all up into any belief, whatever your belief is. I'm being invited to just step out of that and just recognize that it's energy. All of that is energy. It holds energy. What's the right word? It represents energy, right? And it puts us into a space or a vibration that allows us to then perhaps, let's say, activate some of those harmonics, resonances, energies. So once we recognize that we have these abilities to tap into all of these teachings through our DNA and beyond, right? It starts to then beg the question, well, why haven't we really been taught that, the science behind that? And so again, if we think we're simple, and I'm playing with the words here, simple has been misused. If we call someone simple, it's been used over the main meaning, right, is unintelligent. Oh, that person's just simple, or they don't have style, right? They're just simple. You know, they live on a farm, you know, that's their simple life, you know, and that is what many of us have been, what I hear is corralled, and that's a play on words, caroled and corralled into thinking that we're just a human and we need people to lead us, and we need to, you know, and we need to be leaders as well. But this is our limitation because we're limited. And over again, my guides are basically saying, oh, the light just switched. Let me just pause. Got really bright in here, really dark outside. So we've been corralled, and the play on words on that is carol, sung. So we've been sung, right, into, got that light, and it's just kind of bright right now. Anyways, sung into, you know, go here, go here. It's a little bit like that movie Divergent, which I was guided to watch recently, and it was so relevant for right now. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And by the way, if you do watch it, I've been guided to remind everybody, you don't have to take it literally because a lot of these movies are a mix. And I want to talk about that briefly too. There's this tidal wave that I've been speaking of in other videos, where it's this information and this information, and it's pushing up against each other, creating all of this pressure. And then this gets higher, and this could be beliefs about certain things, and, you know, whatever we want to label it as, dark versus light. I mean, it's not, they're both intermingled with both right now at this point from my perspective. But anyways, until something's got to give, or something's got to give, or something's got to give. And that's kind of where I see where I would like to see things be, because now everything is so much pressure that that's in order to merge a little bit, it creates more of this wave rather than this tidal wave of a pendulum swinging in crazy directions, right? Chaos brings it back into harmony. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Squirrel. Okay, so essentially so simple human. We are capable of so much more than we've been taught, but we've been told, oh yeah, you could do anything you want as long as it fits in this category. And many of us are tuning into higher frequencies and memories and recognition that there's more than the box that we've been shown that is our reality. And so as this begins to unfold, people start to go, wait a minute. Then again, the song I've been hearing is Breaking Your Mind. Breaking your mind, yo. Jack Johnson. It's like we're breaking through that. And then we're like, whoa, this is a lot more than I thought. That more than meets the eyes, right? So keeping it simple is one thing. Simplifying in order to not complicate things, yes, that's a great, keep it simple human. I wanted to make mine Keep It Simple Starseeds and change it into Keep It Simple Human, because again, many of us were in this concept that these galactics or other beings were so much better than us. That isn't true. We are those beings from one perspective, from the future. We are those beings, our ancestors, and I respect all of them from that way, from the past living now, because time doesn't work the way that we think it does. Our DNA holds everything that we've ever been. And so does the universe, because it's quantum. So we're being invited, I was being invited to recognize there's more to this. So feel into that. And from there, I'm going to go into a little bit of flow. Simple human. So what I was shown was a ship. And much of what we have created has really been created by this dictation. The dictation, play on words, has created a shipping system, if you will, shipping different parcels into the cellular makeup. And we could take this into a very physical layer and say that this dictation has created a shipping system in which all of our supplies are being processed in a certain way through a certain port, if you will. This certain port harbors within it the ability to alchemize, and I'm hearing quantify, and I'm hearing quantumize, lots of different portmanteau, portmanteau, it's a combination of words to take on those different meanings and then make a new word, which actually creates, anyways, Jabberwocky, anyways. So what I'm being guided to just share first of all is I'm being shown a ship, like on the ocean, full of, things that you would then load onto a train, which then gets distributed to different places. All of those ships still have to go into they're still being directed. And then the dictatorship is a play on words. The dictation or the ship, play on words. So it's been dictated to us where we can ship, what our ingredients are sourced or where they can be sourced from, and how they can be resourced, and so on and so forth. So it's been this very tight-knit tracking system is what I'm being shown. This has allowed us to stay on track. This has allowed us to stay on track with certain frequencies and patterns that have harnessed our individual capacity to simplify or dummy down that which it is that we have been acknowledging, and having access to. So we have begun to think we became what we thought. We thought we became. We were, okay, so I'm seeing what we think we become. But a lot of what we were told to think is part of it. So the stories that we were told is how we've become what we've become, because we've been thinking that those stories are true. But more importantly, this isn't like a hierarchy thing, like this is more important, but brought more on a broader perspective, the stories that we've been told are true, there's more to them. We were only perhaps shown one layer so that it would simplify things and make this entire tracking system easier to, I'm hearing value. So we could look at all the layers of this. We know that the society we live in has some things going on where the value system is being reworked, because what was valuable to us 20 years ago has shifted. This is inner to outer, outer to inner. The things, supply and demand, that which we are demanding now is not what we were demanding 10 years ago as a collective. Because at that time, 10 years ago, the ports that we had access to, what was imported, what was important to us, were docked into a completely different subset or substation. As I say that, I'm seeing literally underground versus above, below, and within, if that makes sense. And I'm hearing taproot. So this is coming back to a previous writing that I did. It's basically that root has been tapped out. So we're seeing that that's no longer what we value anymore. And so the old story that's telling us, or that was telling us, but it's still trying to, because it's an echo. It's like the radio playing out in space and you keep hearing it even though we're 10 years advanced. It's blaring at us to listen to it because it's desperate, is what I'm hearing. So what happens is now we're looking at that saying that no longer quantifies, that no longer adds up, because the what I'm hearing is the quantum space that we're existing in right now, the part of it, the subset, the timeline, dimension, whatever we want to call it, doesn't click into place with that old docking system. So it's losing traction to keep us all on track. And so this idea or concept that there's only one track or one way to follow is falling apart as we start to dissect, play on words. When I say that, I'm seeing a dissect. Oh, and I'm also being shown the deception. So we're starting to pull apart the pieces of the deception, bringing it back to when did this begin? Which is the inception point from one perspective. I think this has to do with the movie Inception, which I haven't watched in forever. And at the time, I don't think I really got it. Maybe I would even now, but maybe I should watch it now. So this all is connected to the way that we've been running our reality, the way that we've been running it on the macro, or the not the grand scale, but the grand station, the train stations, the ports, everything that we've been working is the requirements for us to expand were not allowing us to, like they weren't anyways. So that's what I'm being shown. So we could play with this on a lot of layers. This also includes our body. So what was working for us before it's not delivering the right nutrients. So our body all of a sudden is like, oh, we're changing stations. I'm hearing substations. So we get off onto, instead of being on tracks, we're now in air and we're able to maneuver in a different way, but we don't think we are, because that hasn't been how we've been taught, how our ship has been led, right, before, because we're still in that, well, could I do that? Oh, that doesn't compute. And it's a definite, I'm seeing being shown, we're learning how to walk. Like, oh, I can go over here. I didn't know I could go over here before. So this is relevant for a lot of things that are about to come out about our reality, truths. And I say about, is that a week from now? Is that a year from now? It's just in the works, is what I'm being told. How quickly it happens is truly up to us. can we turn off this old stereo that is trying to steer us through old dictation, through old words, through old habit patterns, through old sound harmonics? And can we allow ourselves to be, it's not be led now, like being led by the light or being led by this group. It's us, I'm hearing the blind leading the blind. And I'm being guided to talk about that. Okay, this is a layer. What I'm being shown is there's a lot of people that are walking around without blindfolds on, but they're blind. And they think they can see, because they do. They see based on the old train station. They see what's there. They don't see beyond those walls. There are those of us who are walking around with blindfolds on, saying, all right, I don't see that. I only see the future. I only see above and beyond. And they're seeing through their third eye only, meaning they're in, some of them are in denial about certain aspects of the reality. And they're both playing certain roles. So there is no wrong or right there. But then I'm being shown there are those of us that are walking around with our eyes open and our third eye open and our heart open, and we're able to see, yep, there's a train there, but there's also an air train up there. So if you just walk out this door or just blow the walls off, you could choose. It's here, ready for us to jump on board. You just have to figure out how to get there. I'm being guided to rephrase that. We don't have to figure out, I'm hearing figure 8, how to get there. It's already here. And when I say figure 8, I'm being guided to talk about what that represents to me. It represents a lot of different things. It's my favorite number, but it's infinity, and it's our hourglass. It's pulling our thoughts into our heart, bringing it down to our root, bringing it back up in this infinite pattern of breath and centeredness that then allows us to see. That helps us to go, well, I don't just have to go through that door to get there. I can just already be there through my intention, and another door will open in front of me. I know it's kind of matrixy, right? But, and so what I'm being shown is that as we process this, there are those of us who are going to be required to put the blindfolds on and just trust. And some of us are fulfilling that role right now. So I'm seeing when you put the blindfolds on, there's kids that are being trained to see without their eyes. And have you ever done that? I do that sometimes when I'm in a really great space of clarity, or I'm going through some series of activations. When I do my own intuitive work, oftentimes I'm seeing without my eyes. My eyes are closed. I'm seeing through pictures. I'm hearing and seeing through that. I'm hearing songs and words and colors, and sometimes, it's all different ways. So if I put the blindfold on, it doesn't mean I can't see. I'm using all of my senses, not just what's right in front of me. And so a lot of people, this is going to seem redundant, but there are people who will go, well, I never thought about it like that before. And again, coming back to that infinite sign and the 8, figure 8, it's infinite. So getting out of this idea that we have to figure it out. Let's take a step back, use all of our senses so that we can then, I'm hearing skate with grace. So it helps us move across the ice rather than get stuck in a hole, and gracefully do these figure 8s in order to then change direction, is what I'm hearing. So I'm just going to end on that note. So I actually am not. I'm going to share just a couple of things personal. So I've been processing emotions, processing feelings. We have this great surge of energy that's been coming in to assist us in all of that. And we have this other surge, again, these tidal waves of energy, beliefs, structures. And this is constantly changing based on us opening the door to see that there's more to this. Oh, okay, so then this belief goes, okay, and then merging. But what I wanted to share was taking a look at, it seems like we've gone 2 steps backwards, It feels like that at times, and sometimes we have, according to what we see. But on another layer, there's also, we've come so far. Many of us have, I mean, where I was at 5 years ago, I have to stop and really, even though I'm feeling these emotions, for example, I had a little bit of a meltdown, meaning I just had a lot, I've got a lot going on in my world with my family and with people that I work with. You know, I wear many different hats. And so with clients, there's just a lot in my reality that, and there's grief that I'm processing because of some of these events that are happening on the world stage as well. And I'm human. I'm just a simple human. And as I pull myself back into the simplicity of being a human, I'm going to cry. There's going to be moments of meltdown. And that then helps us to digest, integrate, and purge in order to just, oh boy, I really needed to just get a good cry in. And that I was supported greatly by my partner, my husband. And I really, at that moment, realized another layer of me having that meltdown and having the support from my partner was to show me how far my partner's come. Because I don't know that he would have been in the same field, energy, vibration to help me in the same way that he did yesterday and the day before as 4 or 5 years ago. Like that. So there's this aspect, I lead this back to the beginning. Why did I create this? Because had I have not had that meltdown, I wouldn't have appreciated how far he's come. And that then adds to our relationship, marriage, communication, and it allows me to have a broader opening and awareness of where he's at. That's massive. I'm using that as an example because sometimes we get so wrapped up in what's going on, we're not stopping to take the moment, in that moment, to recognize, wow, I'm really being supported by my friends right now. I'm really being supported by my spouse right now. On the flip side, there are a lot of people that are in the 5 year ago stage where they're just coming into that space. So sometimes, yes, it is necessary for us to leave and say goodbye to a relationship that no longer is supportive from both ends of the spectrum. Again, he's not here to save me, right? He's just here to say, I'm here for you, right? What do you need? And maybe sometimes we just need our own space. Sometimes it isn't that we need to leave a relationship, a job, whatever. We just might need to take time for ourselves. So recognizing that, and then recognizing, wow, this person is completely unsupportive. They're hostile to me. That's something to sit with as well. Maybe you need to see a counselor or work it out in a different way, because if it's not working, what do they say? You keep doing the same thing. That's the definition of crazy. If it doesn't work, I always mess up my quotes. But anyways, having said that, it allowed me to then really expand my awareness about our relationship. And then it put me back into a space of, wow, okay, then I'm more aware of what he might need, since I've been able to process and feel supported on that way a lot better. So sometimes our partners, our family, and our friends, a lot of people are not in that position right now. They feel very unsupported. And I understand, I've been there. I mean, it's kind of like when I went through this, it's like, you're a witch, you're a witch. What do you mean you're speaking different languages? What do you mean you can see, you had this dream and it came true? How did you know that person was pregnant? You know, these things, it's like, again, the old train station says that doesn't exist. That's not real. That doesn't fit into this category. And we've blown that out of the water. We're just still not seeing it yet because that's just where we're at in this stage. So it's good in those moments to recognize, for any of you going through that, it might take a little time. You just be patient and find the group that does support you. It may be that your spouse or partner or parents or kids are unable to support you right now. That doesn't mean that won't change. And again, if it's an abusive relationship, that's a whole other can of worms. But sometimes we think the other person is a narcissist, because we're actually a narcissist. And that's a whole other can of worms, because narcissists, this isn't even what we're talking about. Because if someone's a narcissist, they're probably back in their own little train station, and that's it. This does not apply to them. But my point is that sometimes we're so in it and we're so emotional and we're so processing. We want our partner to get it, to understand what we're going through, to be able to talk about it with them. And they may not be there yet. They may not even be, or they might be there and it's just over the horizon. But, sometimes we go through that. Well, I've been patient long enough. They may never understand what you're going through. However, they may get to the point where they can say, I don't get what you're going through. I'm supportive. It's kind of like being a woman. Women go through menopause and they go through hormonal changes. That doesn't mean the man is going to get it. So does that mean we say, all right, well, you don't get what I'm going through, so peace out? I mean, we could, but that doesn't necessarily assist in our expansion if those are the reasons we're doing it. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to compare hormonal changes, but there are some hormonal changes that we're all going through. So recognizing where they're at and how far they've come was so beautiful for me just the last couple of days. And it's just like, wow. And furthermore, there are a lot of people out there that have been doing this for a long time, or have been, let's say they've been doing it for a few years, or they've been going through it for 10 years, but they still haven't come through the stage of acceptance that others are not where they're at. And that's kind of what I was referring to, but I'm going to take it into another layer. For example, I could still be angry and hold resentment for all the years that I didn't feel supported. But that's not where I'm at. Some people are there. They're still angry over the fact that their family has ostracized them for not believing in the same way they do. They're still mad at them for that. But now the family is starting to come around and want to reach out. Okay, I was guided to share a story when I was in 5th grade, and this is a basic, simple human example. I was in 5th grade. I don't remember much of my childhood, but there are certain experiences that stick with me. There was a girl who, I think it was 5th, whatever, 6th, 5th. She got in a fight with her friends, right? Got in a fight with her friends, and for some reason wanted to be my best friend. So for a whole week, I don't really know how long, but that's what you're a 5th grader, right? So for a whole week, we were best friends. We played on the playground together. And during that time, it was like, that didn't really ditch my friends, but I was kind of like, oh, I have this new playmate and she wants to be with me. So it made my ego feel good. And I felt excited. And, it was like, cool, like getting to know someone, like, what do you like? Oh, I like that too. We have so much in common. And so during that process, all she did was complain and tell me all of the awful stories about this group of girls that were being mean to her, that she'd been friends with since probably, who knows, 2nd grade. Right, let's apply this to high school. Let's apply this to college, whatever. I'm using this because it really is a very simple story. And so sure enough, at the end of this really magical week, her friends wanted her back. So she went back with her friends, kind of. But she did this beautiful thing and invited me to be a part of the group too. Now, where I was at as a 5th grader and everything that had happened, she told me so many bad things about her friends and all these awful things that they did to her that I was like, why would I want to be friends with them? Ew. And furthermore, how dare you be friends with them? Like, why would you go back to an abusive relationship? I'm using this as an example. So I, in my anger and disbelief as a 5th grader, like, what's wrong with you? Said, I don't want to be friends with any of you. And I think there was this weird dramatic thing, like, well, if you're not friends with them, you can't be friends with me, typical drama. So I didn't speak with her. Like, I was like, shun on. And eventually we said hello or whatever. But had I been this open kid and been in my inner child, I wasn't. I was an old soul and I had some things I was processing. Been in my inner child, I'd have been like, sure, let's all play. Let's work it out. Okay, I can't be mad at you guys anymore, because when we're mad, how many times have we been mad at somebody and then we say bad things and then we're like, oh, I was wrong, or they were wrong, but I shouldn't have repeated that, or, so what are we still hanging on to that isn't allowing us to heal, that isn't allowing us, maybe get rid of the word heal, but to expand our consciousness? What is it that we're hanging on to? And that could be one thing. If I still would have been harboring frustration and stories playing out in my head, I wouldn't have seen this beautiful moment and appreciated it. So that in combination, me acknowledging even that, was, I feel, important. And it's important to share it with others too, our journeys, right? Okay, now I'm going to end on that. So this, yeah, we're in such a crazy, crazy stage right now. But again, we're being invited to break our mind, break our patterns, break our idea of what the mind really is, and move into mindfulness, right? Oh, that's a whole other, I'm moving into another video. That'll be my next one. Maybe I'll continue with the wordplay. In love and light, guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. And thank you so much. Namaste.